outside the walls of the Crimson Cabaret was a world of rain and darkness. At intervals, whenever someone entered or exited through the front door of the club, one could actually see the steady rain and was allowed a brief glimpse of the darkness. Inside it was all amber light and tobacco smoke. The sound of raindrops hitting the windows, which were all painted black. On such nights as I sat at one of the tables in that drab little place, I was always filled with an infernal merriment, as if I were waiting out the apocalypse and could not care less about it. I also like to imagine that I was in the cabin of an old ship during a really vicious storm at sea, or in the club car of a luxury passenger train that was being rocked on its rails by ferocious winds and hammered by a demonic rain. Sometimes when I was sitting in the Crimson Cabaret on a rainy night, I thought of myself as occupying a waiting room for the abyss, which of course was exactly what I was doing. And between sips from my glass of wine or cup of coffee, I smiled sadly and touched the front pocket of my coat where I kept my imaginary ticket to oblivion. Now, on that particular rainy November night, I was not feeling very well. My stomach was slightly queasy, as if signalling the onset of a virus or even food poisoning. Another source for my malaise, I thought to myself, might well have been my long-standing nervous condition, which fluctuated from day to day, but was always with me in some form and manifested itself in a variety of symptoms, both physical and psychic. I was in fact experiencing a faint sensation of panic, although this in no way ruled out the possibility that the queasiness of my stomach was due to a strictly physical cause, either viral or toxic. Neither did it rule out a third possibility, which I was trying to ignore at that point in the evening. Whatever the etiology of my stomach disorder, I felt the need to be in a public place that night, so that if I should collapse, an eventuality I often feared, there would be people around to attend to me, or at least shuttle my body off to the hospital. At the same time, I was not seeking close contact with any of these people, and I would have been bad company in any case, sitting there in the corner of the club, drinking mint tea and smoking mild cigarettes. Out of respect for my ailing stomach. these reasons, I brought my notebook with me that night and had it lying on the table before me, open, as if to say that I wanted to be left alone to mull over some literary matters. But when Stuart Quisser entered the club at 10 o'clock, the sight of me sitting at a corner table, smoking mild cigarettes and drinking mint tea, in no way put him off from walking directly to my table and taking the seat across from me. A waitress came over to us. Quisser ordered some kind of white wine, while I ordered another cup of mint tea. So now it's mint tea, Quisser said as the waitress left us. I'm surprised you're showing your face around here, I said by way of reply. I thought I might try and make up with the old Crimson Woman. Make up? That doesn't sound like you. Nevertheless, have you seen her tonight? No, I haven't. You humiliated her at that party. I haven't seen her since, not even in her own club. I don't know if you're aware of this, but she's not someone you want to have as an enemy. Meaning what? He said. Meaning that she has connections that you know nothing about. And of course you know all about it. I've read your stories. You're a confessed paranoid. So what's your point? My point, I said, is that there's hell in every handshake. Never mind an outright and humiliating insult. I had too much to drink, that's all. You call her a deluded no talent. Quisser looked up at the waitress as she approached with our drinks, and he made a hasty hand signal to me for silence. When she was gone, he said, I happen to know that our waitress is very loyal to the Crimson Woman. She will very probably inform her about my visiting the club tonight. I wonder if she would be willing to act as a go-between with her boss and deliver a second-hand apology from me. Look around at the walls, I said. Quisser set down his glass of wine and scanned the room. He said, when he had finished looking, this is more serious than I thought. She's taken down all her old paintings. And the new ones don't look like hers at all. They're not. You humiliated her. And yet she seems to have done up the stage or something since I last saw it. New paint job or something. The so-called stage to which Quisser referred was a small platform in the opposite corner of the club. This area was entirely framed by 4 long panels, each of them painted with black and gold ziggles against a glossy red background. Various events occurred on this stage. Poetry readings, tableaux vivants, playlets of sundry types, puppet shows, artistic slideshows, musical performances, and so on. That night, which was a Tuesday, the stage was dark. I observed nothing different about it and asked Quisser what it was that he thought he saw. I can't say exactly, but something seems to have been done. I can't say exactly, but something seems to have been done. Maybe it's those black and gold ideographs or whatever they're supposed to be. The whole thing looks like the cover of a menu in a Chinese restaurant. You're quoting yourself, I said. What do you mean? The Chinese menu remark, you used that in your review of the Marsha Corker exhibit last month. Did I? I don't remember. Do you really not remember, or are you just saying you don't remember? I asked this question in the spirit of trivial curiosity, my queasy stomach preventing me the strain of any real antagonism. I remember, all right? Which reminds me, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. It came to me the other day, and I immediately thought of you and your stuff, he said, gesturing toward my notebook of writings, open on the table before us. You, of all people, should know about them. No one else seems to. It was years ago, but you're old enough to remember. You've got to remember. Remember what? I asked. After the briefest pause, he replied, the gas station carnivals.